This is very interesting because I really wish that we could see through the minutia of politics to get down to the bottom of what happened and the truth, or is this a complete farce, or could this be something legitimate? Let me tell you why I'm not convinced that this is a legitimate indictment against Trump. Legitimate. Let me read to you some of the charges, or in this case, all of the charges against Donald Trump. Together, they carry a 75-year sentence. That means he would be dead in prison if he were to be found guilty. Let me read you some of the charges. And immediately after I read you these charges, there's going to be a person's name that pop up in your head, and you're going to understand why this appears to be a witch hunt and not a legitimate investigation. Charges against Trump include retaining classified documents, conspiring to obstruct justice, withholding a document or record, corruptly concealing a document or record, concealing a document in a federal investigation, scheme to conceal, false statements, and representation. I literally want to cuss thinking about the fact that Donald Trump is being indicted for the exact thing that Hillary Clinton did. Hillary Clinton had a server in her house that the United States government did not know about while she was the Attorney General, or Secretary of State, I'm sorry. She literally had a server in her house sending and receiving top secret and classified documents. And when Congress put out a subpoena for her to come and testify as to whether or not she was sending and receiving classified documents, she not only lied about it, she destroyed documents. Let me just say this real quick. And I'm not getting Trump off the hook, but if Trump go to jail over this, if he did it, Hillary Clinton should be up under the jail. Think about this for a minute. She had a server on which she was sending and receiving classified documents. That alone should put you in prison. She had a person develop and create a server in her house. So she knowingly and intentionally attempted to divert communications from the government's knowledge onto a server at her house. Now, think about this. The United States government did not put that server in her house. Who did it? It was an individual without a security clearance that was not working for the United States government. So that means if a person has control of a server, that means he has access to all the documents and information on that server. And if that person doesn't have a security clearance and is available to and exposed to classified documents, which that person should not be able to view, the person responsible for sending and receiving that information is going to go to jail over it. And the person who's observing classified information without a clearance knowingly and intentionally is going to jail as well. That man didn't go to jail for that server in Hillary Clinton's basement, and neither did Hillary Clinton. How is that possible? And then when she was subpoenaed, she obstructed justice. She smashed her computer Blackberries with hammers, and she used BleachBit software, or however you want to explain it, to delete everything on her computer, on the server, wiping her computers and server. And then when she actually was made to produce documents, they realized she deleted 30,000 emails. And she claimed, it's not evidence, she claimed that her lawyers, who did not have a security clearance, went through and separated her personal emails from her professional government emails. These people don't have a security clearance, so they cannot get exposed to top secret or classified documents. She not only exposed them to it, she authorized the exposing of them to these documents. They didn't go to jail, and she didn't go to jail. And they just took her word for it? It's mind-blowing to me that Hillary Clinton could do all of that in a more egregious way, because she not only had the server there, she had the server there for nefarious purposes. She had the server there so she can do government business and her personal business dealings without the government knowing about it, without it being on public record. The Chinese and other countries were trying to interfere and hit that server. They were attempting to break into the server. You would argue that some of that documented information was stolen from us, from the United States government. Even in Benghazi, this fool was communicating with a man who did not work for the United States government in Benghazi for her own personal interests. But yet the Americans in Benghazi were saying, we need reinforcements. We need help. The situation is getting worse here. She avoided, like, I don't know how many thousands of emails they were sending. I think it was hundreds, like 600 emails they sent requesting backup, reinforcement. She completely neglected the Americans in Benghazi while simultaneously communicating with a guy who wasn't working for the government for her own personal interests in Benghazi. How she didn't get put to death is beyond me. If that's not treasonous, I don't know what it is. The Clinton Foundation getting hundreds of millions of dollars from foreign leaders and governments, and then all of a sudden she's not in a position of power in the government. She gets no more donations. They shut down the organization. Their donations dried up. We got evidence right here. It's going to come out soon that Joe Biden was in a pay-to-play bribery scheme while he was vice president. Right here, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm going to play the clip. Are we out or what? I can't hear anybody. Are we offline? A bribery scheme. We're good. A bribery scheme where it says the FBI says Biden was paid $5 million by Burisma in a pay-to-play scheme. Listen, if that dude don't go to prison and Trump is getting indicted, there's no justification for this. There's no justification for it. We saw him talk about the loan guarantees to Ukraine. And that attorney that they claimed was corrupt was investigating Burisma, which his son was on the board of. And he said, if you don't fire this person, we won't give you $1 billion of loan guarantee. It wasn't about corruption. It seems to me it was that they were investigating his son and would have found out about his corrupt dealings. But he wanted to get the person out that could have investigated him by bribing them with money. And the bribery took hold because they fired the investigator and then Biden gave them the money. That is called pay to play. His son can't even speak the language. No experience in energy. We all see his laptop videos. He over there with prostitutes, snorting coke off girl booty cheeks. And somehow he getting paid millions. And Biden getting paid millions. And now you wonder why Biden giving Ukraine all this money. We don't know what they're doing with that money. They could be using a fourth of it for the war, and the rest of it is going to Zelensky's pocket. So he can shut up and not tell the truth about what business dealings they were having in Ukraine. He's compromised. He's not going to jail. Somebody, somewhere, explain this to me.